So talk to us about the Pantocrator. What do we think about that?
Well, why I chose that, because it's a mosaic. And also because this is the beginning of art. For me, like, you know, looking at that image, it was just thinking about how trippy it is that Christ decides to make people in his image, and then while he's doing it, knowing that he's going to become one of them, potentially. Like, it's very funny, but yeah, when I was looking at the mosaic image of Christos Pantokrata, it's like, okay, that's like the ultimate meta imagery, because he made face.
He made it, and then the artists make
you know
it.
What I mean?
And this is so I say this is exactly like the drawing of Ye, or the drawing of Kim by us
exactly.
of him.
Yeah. So it's just another, it's like more fan art of God making fan art. Because he's created us as the art reflecting his own image. So that's why I liked it. That's why I chose, I was like, okay, well, we have to get an image there of that kind of icon, because in that sense, like, we've all been created in the image of that one face,
right,
which we only see through the Incarnation.
I did a blog post some time ago about the face of God, which is the one Milo post that didn't get in the book because it had all the images, and we didn't put pictures in the book. And the sort of question of what if you are representing the face of God, what does it look like? What does his face look like? And I was reflecting on a article where they'd done a scientific study of asking people what they thought Jesus looked like, and then blended them. So they ended up with this blended image. And my first example was Milo, but not Milo in the tub covered with blood, because he's not our sacrifice, but Milo, in effect, penitent before the world at the press conference where he was talking about why he said what he said about being abused. And, sort of he's kind of looking down, and he's like that. And so therefore not projecting the glamour character, and not with glasses on. He has no glasses on in that one. And then I compared it with some other, it's like, I think I ended up with like 12 or 16 different options. I can't remember. And there was a range of pictures, right? From the world to the Mona Lisa to Albrecht Dürer as Christ, right? And when the artist used their own face in the mirror to represent Christ, which is, sort of a Renaissance self-fashioning joke. But wait, as you're saying, it's like God made our faces. So if we're painting our own faces, are we representing the image? I had some other selections, such as Ganesha, the Hindu god who has an elephant head. We're kind of on themes of elephants in the poetry at the moment. The bloody elephant. The world itself, like the whole globe, in those representations. A crowd, so you have lots of faces. And then 10th century manuscript that's basically just Rothko kind of blue. It's like Mark Rothko was anticipated by 1,000 years, because there were medieval painters that understood this problem of representing God as sort of color that you losing yourself in contemplation, the infinite, or not the infinite, because they don't have that concept in the Middle Ages. Whatever God is, right? Through the veil into the Holy of Holies. What do you see? Light. Yes. And therefore, always in art, the degree to which we, our own faces, photographs of us, representations of Christ, but who do we use as model? Then there's also those things that get circulated around the internet with the either skull reconstructions off of, I guess, the skull that they're projecting out of the Shroud of Turin, I'm not sure. Blended images of people from the region. So you look Lebanese or Syrian.
Like a Syrophoenician AI generated Jesus face.
Right, yeah, I've seen those. And that were, that I mean, that in you know, the iconographical tradition, that there's supposed to be conventions for representing Jesus, because then you know for sure that that's what he looks like. You can't make him outside of the canon of representations, because otherwise you might not be representing him. It's like, well, hopefully, you know, if we have Saint Luke there painting Our Lady as she was at the Annunciation, or no, I think no, he doesn't do the Annunciation. He does the Hodegatria, the she's holding the child and pointing to him. I think that's the right one. But there's always this desire of saying, just like, this is the image made without human hands. This is the unhuman. But our hands are God's made creature. You know, these are our art. If we make art with our hands, we're making God's image with the image He made. It gets very trippy very quickly.
Yeah, well, he said like God made man, and that was a selfie. I forget the line. It was from one of his songs, but he gets it. He gets it. It's a God taking a selfie in us, and then having that having Christ in all of us is that that grand mosaic of every single person who's a part of His body, then reflecting Him into the world. Just like that Pantocrator mosaic, you know? It's like all of us individually assemble Him on the earth.
But like so you could do those images that are made of other images, the little mosaic. It's like tiny little images that go together to make a picture as a mosaic.
Yep. Like when they've got a million pictures of Jimi Hendrix to get the Jimi Hendrix portrait.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are. So absolutely all of us are an element. I mean, so and that's, it's like, is it mosaic or hologram? I realize, because a hologram, every fragment of the photographic plate can reproduce the whole image. It's fun. It's light waves. Ethers are, tell them. If he's still watching.
Bring in the physicists.
We need an electromagnetician. Is there one in the house? That the hologram, every particle of it, every piece of it can, if you shine the correct wavelength back through it, can reproduce the whole thing. So we could say, are we holograms? And that is, you know, God, the world is the hologram, and every one of us reflects the whole of our image. Or is God our collection? Are all of the human beings that have ever been born or conceived, more accurately probably, all of the human beings that have ever been conceived are part of that image of God. So that's why one of my choices of the image of God was the crowd. It's like it takes all of us to make the image of God, not any one of us holographically. So mosaic or hologram. I mean, we made both of those. Both of those are art forms that we have as God's creatures poetically made. Therefore, yes. This is all yes.
Always reaching for what's beyond the curtain.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I don't like the face covering. I want that to stop. The iconoclasm of the human face has to stop. Because we're not even like, thinking about that, we're not even, we're so obsessed with making fan art of other people's faces. We're not even looking at the prototype anymore when people are covered up like that. There's no... It's like the window's closed. It's like the veil's been put over, you know? It's the anti-apocalypse. to have everyone covered up like this.
I mean, wow. Yes. the no, it's like the masks are veils that, you know, that we showed that on our Corona Files one, that I wore a belly dancer veil for my mask, and I realized some of it was because
you were animated.
It moved, right? It was still because the veil had the beads on it and the gold, it could still shimmer. Right, which like the mosaics. I mean, I'm thinking about the mosaic and the Panchakartra, and why mosaics are so beautiful. They're made of lots of little pieces. They have like gold foil behind them. They're glass, but they have the foil backing them, so they're three-dimensional in a sense, right? So that they can catch the light and send it back out. They reflect, and that technology was in fact. Where do we go next? Oh, we're to the Ecce Homo now. Oh well. No. Go back to the mosaic. I know, because I know that in our stack there's some pictures of the decorated skeletons, and I was thinking of relics that we know some reliquaries in the Middle Ages were made with like silver backing. So there's the backing, the fragment of the body, and then a crystal covering, so that when you see, you as the viewer looks at that relic, it reflects back the light of heaven, as it were. And this mosaic technology is trying to achieve it. I should finish my sentences because I keep interrupting myself. I've been watching our videos and I realize I stop it. Now I've made a complete parentheses of thinking about it, parentheses. Okay, so the mosaic technology is reflecting the light back at you. The glass technology, where you have windows where the light shines through and it changes color because of the way it's refracted through that glass. I mean, all of these are elements of our...
So it's similar to a screen, like the way we're looking now. We're looking at screens which are projecting light at us. So what you're describing is a kind of ancient form of doing this, illusion of having light projected out onto whoever's looking at the mosaic tile or the relic.
I get, yes. Our screens, our LEDs, whatever's behind these screens, right? They're shining at us, and the mosaic is actually reflecting. So we are, yes. When you're looking at mosaic, it's sending light at you. Ethers, are we right? Ferris Blue Bear. I'm working on an audience participation piece called Firing Squad. Ask some blah, blah, blah. Interesting. Okay. The mosaic, when you're looking at it, is shining onto you, but it's reflected light rather than the light that's come through a window that's coming in on me today. And one way or another, you're in light. We have definitely having you be thinking about that. So that one of the things that came up yesterday in the seminar was this problem of presence, the problem of participation, the degree to which we find ourselves inside the art, which I realize I'm always doing, right? The Christian poesis is, you must find yourself inside this. You are not just spectator of the art. I'm starting to fangirl him because I actually listened to the album. Go, yay, right? This is a mission. He got me totally. I was like, oh man, he really, no. And the thing is, I think I didn't get it because the first time I listened to Jesus King, all I knew was what Jonathan Pageau had said about him in that lecture. And so I'm just listening to the songs. I'm like, oh, they're okay, and of course now I'm hearing them, having listened to him speak more, and I'm hearing the echoes and the resonances of what he's doing. And when he's saying this is a mission, not a show, you are in it, right? The yet again, the Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't believe in ghost stories. You best believe them, Miss Turner. You're in one. We're in this, and the mosaic is trying to make us in it. It wants us to be inside of Christ.